You're not tired in the morning because you need coffee. You're tired because your morning hasn't started yet. Not really. Japan figured this out a long time ago. And the answer isn't a drink. It's a sequence. Today, I'll walk you through 6 Japanese morning habits that generate real, lasting energy before you even touch a cup of anything. These aren't tips you skim and forget. Each one has a reason behind it, a philosophy, a deeper understanding of how the human body wakes up. Stay until habit number 6, because I'll give you the one Japanese morning anchor that ties all of this together. And habit number 4 is the one most of you have never heard of, but it explains why so many Japanese people in their 70s look and move like they're 50. Let's begin. These habits aren't exotic. They're not complicated. But they work differently than what most of us in the West were taught. We were taught that energy is something you consume. You drink it. You eat it. You get it from a machine on a kitchen counter. Japan's approach is almost the opposite. Energy, in the Japanese morning framework, is something you generate. You create it through movement, attention, water, light, and intention. And the difference between those two philosophies is enormous. One leaves you dependent on a substance. The other builds something internal, something that compounds over time. You feel it within days. You'll wonder why nobody ever explained it this way before. Habit number 1 is water, but not the way you're thinking. This isn't just drink a glass of water when you wake up. That's too simple. In Japan, there's a practice called mizu wo nomu, which translates roughly to drinking water as a morning ritual. And the specifics matter. Room temperature or warm water. Not cold, not ice. Slow, deliberate. The moment you wake up, your body has been fasting for 7 or 8 hours. Your digestive system is dormant. Your lymphatic system is sluggish. Cold water shocks that system into a kind of defensive contraction. Warm water does the opposite. It invites the body to open, to flush, to begin. And here's the part most people miss entirely. Drinking water slowly and intentionally first thing tells your nervous system that the day is beginning gently. Not with alarm, not with urgency, with readiness. That signal travels through your whole body before you've left the bedroom. Habit number 2 is something called Hadaka no Taiso, or, in English, the radio Taiso exercises. You've probably seen clips of this without knowing what it was. Every morning across Japan, in parks, in schoolyards, in company courtyards, people gather and follow a structured 3-minute movement sequence. It's broadcast on national radio. Has been since 1928. Think about that. Nearly 100 years of a nation choosing structured morning movement before almost anything else. Here's why this matters for your energy. Your body runs on something called the circadian rhythm, a 24-hour internal clock. And that clock responds to physical signals. Light is one, movement is another. When you move your body deliberately within the first 30 minutes of waking, you send a clear signal to your brain. We are awake. We are active. Release the hormones that match that. And it does. The energy you feel after even 3 minutes of intentional morning movement isn't caffeine energy. It's yours. It came from inside you. That's the difference. Let's slow down here because this next one is the one that changes everything for most people. Habit number 3, light before screens. In Japan, there's a deeply rooted concept called ma. It means pause, space, the meaningful gap between things. And Japanese morning culture applies ma to the transition from sleep to full wakefulness. You don't rush it, you honor it. What that looks like in practice is simple. You wake up, and before you look at your phone, before you check anything, you go to a window or step outside. You face natural light. You just stand there for 2 or 3 minutes. No agenda, just light on your face. This isn't poetic, this is biology. Natural morning light hits the retina and sends a direct signal to the suprachiasmatic nucleus in your brain. That signal suppresses melatonin and begins the release of cortisol, the right kind of cortisol. Morning cortisol, which is your body's natural energy hormone. When you reach for your phone instead, you delay that signal, and your body stays partially asleep, sometimes for hours. You're draining your energy before your day even starts. Now, habit number 4. This is the one I mentioned at the beginning, the one almost nobody in the West knows about. It's called chokai seiso, morning cleaning. In Japan, it's common practice to spend 5 to 15 minutes cleaning your immediate space before you leave for the day. Not deep cleaning, not a full scrub. Just a wipe, a sweep, a simple ordering of the space around you. School children do it. Office workers do it. It's built into the rhythm of the day without question. Here's what's actually happening when you do this. Your environment and your mental state are not separate things. They communicate constantly. A cluttered surface creates a cluttered signal in your nervous system.
Your brain reads disorder as unfinished business, and unfinished business creates low-grade stress. That stress uses energy, not dramatically, quietly, a slow, invisible drain running all morning long. When you spend 5 minutes bringing order to your immediate space, you close those open loops. Your brain stops carrying them, and that freed up mental energy becomes actual, usable morning energy. You didn't get more. You stopped losing it. Habit number 5 is hara hachibu at breakfast. This is the Okinawan principle, practiced across much of Japan, of eating until you are 80% full. Not stuffed, not satisfied in the heavy, sinking way most Americans recognize from breakfast. 80%. Just enough that you feel the food but not its weight. And here's the reason this is a morning energy habit, not just a diet principle. Digestion is expensive. Your body uses enormous amounts of blood flow and metabolic energy to process a large meal. When you eat a heavy American breakfast, pancakes, a full egg plate, buttered toast, a large orange juice, your body reroutes its energy toward digestion, away from your brain, away from your muscles, away from your mood. You feel it 40 minutes later. That slump, that fog, that's not a mystery. That's biology. The Japanese breakfast is typically small, varied, and light. Miso soup, a little rice, maybe a piece of grilled fish, pickled vegetables. Each component is easy to digest. The total volume is modest. Your body handles it without protest, and your energy stays yours. Stay with me because we're almost at habit number 6. But first, let's talk about what ties habits 1 through 5 together. Because there's a thread here that's easy to miss. None of these habits add something stimulating to your morning. They remove something draining. That's the philosophical gap between Western morning culture and Japanese morning culture. We in the West tend to solve tiredness by adding something. More caffeine, a louder alarm, a high-energy playlist. Japan's approach asks a different question entirely. Why is the energy missing in the first place? And then it removes the thing that's taking it. Disrupted sleep signals, screens before light, environmental disorder, a digestive system overwhelmed before 9 in the morning. When you stop doing those things, energy doesn't feel like something you have to chase. It's just there, quietly waiting. That's not mystical. That's what your body was designed to feel like when you stop working against it. Habit number 6, mokuso. In Japanese martial arts, in schools, in some offices, the day begins with mokuso, a moment of intentional stillness. Not meditation in the long, structured Western sense, not an app with a timer, just stillness. Eyes closed, breathing slow, 30 seconds, 1 minute, sometimes 2. That's it. Here's why this matters more than it sounds. Your brain wakes up running. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. The moment consciousness begins, your mind starts processing. Yesterday's unfinished things, today's upcoming pressure, the thought you didn't finish before you fell asleep. All of it starts immediately, and that processing costs energy before you've even stood up. Mokuso interrupts that pattern. It's a deliberate pause between waking and beginning, a moment where you choose not to react to anything yet. Your nervous system registers that pause, and it responds by staying calm rather than escalating. When you begin your day from calm, your energy doesn't spike and crash. It levels out over the whole morning, steadily, sustainably. That's the goal. Now let's talk about why this works for the Western body specifically, because I hear this question. These habits are Japanese. Does that matter? Are they only effective for people raised in that culture? The answer is no. And the reason is that these habits aren't cultural inventions. They're biological optimizations that Japanese culture formalized into daily structure. Your body responds to morning light the same way a body in Tokyo does. Your digestion works the same way. Your nervous system reads environmental disorder the same way. The culture didn't create the mechanism. It just stopped fighting it. That's the real insight here. Japan's morning habits aren't special because they're Japanese. They're effective because they work with human biology instead of against it. And your body doesn't care where the habit came from. It just responds to what you're doing with it. Let's be honest about one thing. Most of us in America have mornings that look almost exactly opposite to everything described here. You wake up to an alarm that spikes your heart rate. You reach for your phone before your eyes fully adjust. You drink cold water if you drink any at all. You skip breakfast or eat something heavy and fast. You walk out the door into a space you didn't touch or order. And then you wonder why you're exhausted by 11. This isn't a character flaw. It's a system problem. You're running hardware that was built for one kind of morning inside a routine designed for something else entirely. And the cost is invisible. It's just background noise. Fatigue you've normalized. Fog you've accepted as your personality. That's not who you are.
That's what your morning is doing to you. Here's what I want you to try this week. Pick just two of these 6 habits. Don't overhaul your morning. Don't set 5 new alarms and buy a new notebook and try to change everything at once. That's not the Japanese way. The Japanese approach to habit is called kaizen. Small, consistent improvement, not dramatic reinvention. Pick warm water first thing. Pick 2 minutes of natural light before your phone. Do those 2 things every morning for 7 days. Just that, and pay attention to what shifts. Not what you feel like at 6 in the morning, what you feel like at 10, at noon, at 3 in the afternoon when most people are already reaching for their second or third coffee. That's where you'll notice it. Not at the start of the day, in the middle of it, when the energy you built in the morning is still there. The reason Japan's relationship with morning energy looks different from ours isn't discipline. It's not willpower. It's not some cultural trait that's impossible to replicate. It's that Japan never separated physical well-being from environmental and mental well-being. Those are the same thing in Japanese daily philosophy. Your space affects your energy. Your first 10 minutes set the tone for your next 10 hours. Your digestion shapes your focus. Your exposure to light determines your hormone rhythm. These aren't separate categories. They're one system. And when you treat them as one system, your morning stops being something you survive. It becomes something that actually powers you. Without anything added, without caffeine, without a product, just the habits that stop taking your energy away before your day even begins. Let's revisit habit number 1 for a moment. Because there's a layer to it most people skip over. Warm water in the morning in Japan isn't just about hydration. It's the first act of care you perform for your body each day. Slow down here. Let that actually land. The first act. Before you serve anyone else, before you answer a message, before you start performing the day, you give your body something it needs. Warm, gentle, unhurried. In Japanese morning philosophy, that sequence matters. Self before output, restoration before production. It sounds small, it is small, but the psychological signal it sends is not. Every time you do it, you're telling your nervous system that you come first this morning. And a nervous system that feels cared for doesn't brace. It opens. That openness is what energy actually feels like when it hasn't been disrupted before it starts. One more thing about Hadaka no Taisu before we close on this. The Radio Taiso exercises aren't intense. They're not designed to be a workout. They're not meant to build muscle or burn calories. That's the Western lens, and it misses the point entirely. The point is activation. 3 minutes of structured, full-body movement that wakes up every joint, every muscle group, every nerve pathway in a sequence designed specifically for that purpose. And the fact that it's done communally matters too. In Japan, morning movement isn't a private, solitary, anxious self-improvement ritual. It's shared. It's social. Done alongside neighbors, coworkers, children, that shared energy creates a layer of connection that has its own biological effect. Social bonding releases oxytocin. Oxytocin reduces cortisol. Lower cortisol in the morning means more of your natural energy reserve stays available. You're not spending it on stress, you're saving it for the day. The deeper pattern here is this. Every single one of these 6 habits is designed to preserve energy, not manufacture it. And that's the philosophy shift that matters most. Energy isn't generated by adding stimulants, it's protected by removing drains. Japan's morning culture is a system of protection. Protect the nervous system from sudden shocks, protect the digestion from overload, protect the mind from environmental clutter, protect the body's natural hormone rhythm from disruption. When all 6 of those protections are in place, you don't need coffee to feel alert. You need coffee to feel normal when those protections aren't in place. That's the real story. Not that Japanese people have found some morning secret. It's that they never built in the drains that make the secret necessary. So here's your reset question. Not tomorrow. Right now. Think about your morning from this past week. When did you first touch your phone? How did your breakfast sit with you by mid-morning? What did your space look like when you walked out the door? Was there a single moment of stillness anywhere in your first 30 minutes? Just one moment? If the answer is no, that's not a willpower problem. That's a design problem. And design problems have design solutions. 6 of them. Right here. You don't need all 6 at once. You just need to start somewhere that isn't where you are right now. Pick one. The water, the light, the stillness, and give your morning a chance to actually work for you. The Japanese don't talk about morning energy as something you earn through struggle. They talk about it as something you allow. You allow the light in. You allow the body to wake gradually. You allow the space to be clear. You allow the food to be gentle. You allow the mind its moment of quiet. Allow. That word is the whole philosophy compressed into one syllable, and it's the opposite of how most of us in the West approach the morning. We fight it. We override it. We medicate it into productivity before it's ready. And then we wonder why we're depleted by midday. Your body isn't broken. Your morning is. And these 6 habits are how Japan quietly fixed that problem decades ago without making it complicated. Mokuso, Mizu, light before the screen, 5 minutes of Chokai Seiso. Hara Hachibu at breakfast, 3 minutes of Radio Taiso. That's the full sequence. A Japanese morning built not around what you consume, but around what you protect. You don't need to be in Japan to live this way. You don't need a different culture or a different calendar. You just need a different first 30 minutes. And the energy that follows isn't borrowed from a substance you'll need again by noon. It's yours from the start, built from the inside out.